Hi, I'm Tom Stephenson and welcome to Microsoft Project for Beginners. Today we're going to be looking at how to set up a calendar. This is the third video in this series and I'm trying to make it that it's just for really new users, not to be too complicated, pretty basic, and slowly get you built up that you become a power user with Microsoft Project. If you visit my playlist and subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll see under a number of the playlists I have many Microsoft Project videos, and some are much more advanced than this. So if you're an advanced user, you might want to check out my playlist and look under Microsoft Project, and you'll find pretty much a topic on any one of these areas. But for today, we're going to keep it simple. So in previous videos, I've entered a few activities, just very simply 7 activities plus a finish. I put predecessors in, and again, if this is too advanced for you already, just go back to Microsoft Project for Beginners, video 1. I'll provide a link in the show notes so you can take a look at that if that's the case. If not, then just type these in. It won't take you very long. You can even freeze the video at this point and just get this part done up to this point. Tasks 1 to 7, finish. If you've got problems that you see like a thumbtack here, just change them all over to auto schedule. And you'll learn more about that by going back to the other videos, but that'll get you started. You'll have something that looks like mine or close to mine. And for today, really, as long as it looks fairly close to mine, that's all you really need. I'm also showing the critical path here in case yours shows all blue and you wonder. You can just go to the Format tab, and that just turns critical path on and critical path on or off. It's off there, and there you can see it's on. Critical path, longest path through the project. Okay, now we said we were going to talk about calendars today. Well, once we know how to set up our schedule and have our links in, we have to start thinking about our calendars. And to be honest, you can think about your calendars before you do any of this, and you can even have a template file that has all of your holidays and things set up into it. But as I said, we'll keep it simple today. We'll just set up a basic calendar, show you what it can do, how you can create a new calendar, how you can assign a particular calendar to an activity. So where are calendars found? Well, you'd think it would be called calendars, but it's not. So you just go under Project, the Project tab, and that's things global to the project. And then you'll notice there's project information. That's where you put things like your project start date and what calendar your project's using. So you see it says calendar there. It says standard. By default, Microsoft Project comes with 3 calendars, and typically if you're in a basic level, you're probably just looking at Monday to Friday 8-hour work days. That would be the standard calendar, and that's typically the default. This means that all these activities right now, they're following that standard calendar. You notice how there's a hatching there on Saturday and Sunday. It means that those days are considered non-working by default. Now you can make any of them working. You can make all of them working. You can do whatever you want with the calendar. So you're not limited. You should never be stuck with the software telling you how to schedule it. So right now it is following the standard calendar. We are starting, in this case, it's got a start date of today's date, Sunday, the 1st of January 16th. All right, you could always pull this down and say, hey, I don't want to start January 16th. I want to start the end of January. All right, so I can do that. So I start the end of January. I'll click OK, and everything moves to that period. So I've got that starting now, and everything is following. Everything is following the standard calendar, but I want to customize it. All right, so I'm still in that Project tab. Make sure you're in the Project tab. And I'm going to click on Change Working Time. And it's best when you're following along, that you try this with Microsoft Project yourself. If you're trying it and roughing it out and clicking these things, then it starts to resonate. If you just watch me, you forget it. So if you have a setup that you can actually do it, it actually makes it much more tangible for you. You'll remember it much better. And then the more times that you do it, then it really starts to click in. So if you do this once, it's not bad to watch the video again and try it again, and then to try adding a calendar to a few activities maybe that you create on your own. So I'm going to go to Change Working Time. Click on that. That brings up essentially the calendar, right? And this is where we can adjust the working time when we want to work. So I guess it does describe what it is that you're trying to do here with change working time. All right. So the calendar that's first there is the standard. Remember we said there's 3. So we're going to adjust the standard calendar and we're going to put in some holidays. And you'll notice that there's a bunch of hatchings here that kind of shows what's working. So that's blank, that's working. Non-working kind of has this shaded area. If I edit something, it'll sort of show it bold to show that you have done something to this cell. So the hatchings can be useful for you viewing it. Now I'm going to put in some holidays. And so being in Canada, we have most provinces, we have what we call Family Day. All right, you may have a different one with whatever country you're in, but that's fine. We can just get the exercise done and then you can look at whatever particular dates you want to put in for holidays on your own project. So the 3rd week of February is always what we call Family Day. So I click on the 21st first. I usually find that better than typing in here first, because if I just type in here, it'll put whatever date I happen to be on as the holiday, and then I got to play around a little bit to change it over. You can do it. It's just quicker if you just go the 21st, put in my case, Family Day, and then all you got to do is click Start, and it'll put it at that date, and it's starting and finishing on that particular day. The next one maybe I'll put in is Good Friday. I think that is on April 15th, so I'll put Good Friday, and I'll click on that. And we have another one called Victoria Day, and I'm pretty sure this year it's going to be on the 16th, so I'll just put 16 here. Victoria Day, and I'll type that in. And there we go. So I've just put in a few holidays there. Another one we've got is Canada Day. In the US, you're going to have July 1st, of course. We have July 1st, you have July 4th. So I'm just going to put in Canada Day. Amazing, we have a lot of things in common, pretty close that way. Okay, so actually I'll do one more. I think it'll make it a little bit more interesting as I talk about it. We have a civic holiday, which is usually the first Monday in August. And I'll click over here. And maybe I'll do something a little bit special just to show you something, like the Christmas holidays. Depends on your project, right? Some companies, like in the construction world, there's not a lot that typically goes on between Christmas and New Year's, to be honest. Some companies do work, right? And maybe you've got a school to do and you're going to, except for Christmas, you're going to sort of really be working those days. If that's the case, then all you'd want to do is put in Christmas. And if you're going to take off a Monday as a result of Christmas, in this case being on a Sunday, you would just put that there, right? So I could put Christmas, just click over here. Now, maybe you've got Boxing Day in Canada. We get Boxing Day off, so typically. So I'm going to put maybe the 27th. And if I go down here, then it puts both those days. On the other hand, maybe I'm going to take the whole week off because nobody's really working, so there's no point in scheduling stuff. So in that case, I'm going to click on the 30th. I'm going to click down there. Now I've taken that whole week off. And maybe because New Year's Eve is on a Saturday, and then if we look at New Year's Day, the next month it's on a Sunday. So maybe that's going to be inclusive of the New Year's holiday. If it wasn't, I probably would have changed this just right over to the 2nd, like if we were going to take off the Monday or something like that. So you make it time you plan to take off. Because if you don't, you know what happens? It's going to schedule time through these days, and then when you come back from your holidays, you're behind schedule. So you don't want that to happen. You want to be on schedule as much as possible. And you don't want time that you don't plan to work being reflected in the schedule. Now, one thing to avoid frustration with Microsoft Project, make sure you click OK. If you click cancel or you click the X, then you're going to lose all of that stuff you put in. If I click OK, it should It's going to change some of my dates here, right? Because some of these holidays are going to cross over. Like for sure, the Family Day is going to cross over. I don't think any of the other ones do because it's very short, but I'm going to click OK. And so you see right after the Family Day where that came into play, which is over here, because I'm not working during that time, it extended my schedule out, and it extended all the other activities also out from there as well. So that's what you want. That's what you want. You want wherever there's a holiday for it to not schedule during that time period. So if I scroll along, see Good Friday, I should see that over here, right? I should see that hatching that I'm not actually working at that time. Now, for some reason on your screen, you don't see these hatchings like when you're using Microsoft Project. It might mean that your screen is so bright, it's washing it out. But typically, you should see those hatchings in place when you're looking at it. And of course, when I did do that, it showed what was affected by me adjusting the calendar. As soon as I do another thing, this will all disappear, like this light blue coloring here. Like if I change this to 8 days, it will change, what did it affect? It only affected that. So that goes away afterwards, after you make a move. It's like a flag to just warn you, hey, whatever you just did with the calendar, it affected your project. Are you okay with that? And so that's always good to review. I want to go back a little bit to change working time though. And if I wanted to say work some Saturdays, that's the next thing you're probably asking. Well, I want to work some Saturdays. All right. Well, maybe you want to work the first 3 Saturdays of February. So you want to make those working days instead of non-working days. So let's call this February Saturday work days. And you see, I'm down here right now. So this is going to mean I'm going to have to do a few more steps. If I'd been smart, I would have put it right up there, but that's okay. I'm going to click over here and I'm going to click then down here and I'm going to go to the 5th of February. Now, if I click down here, it's going to make everything, watch. It says it overlaps with an exception, basically one of my holidays. It's warning me of that, right? So I'm gonna click OK, and it may stop me from doing that. So I'm gonna just basically go February 5th here, and then I'm gonna go back to the finish, and I'm gonna say February 5th. And now if I go down here, it should bold that, but nothing happened. Right? So that's why it's an extra step. That's why it's always easier just to click in the box and then just go from there. So it's still a working day though. I haven't done what I wanted to do. I want to make a non-working day. It's still a non-working day, right? So this is by the hatching, still a non-working day. I want to make it a working day. So what do I have to do? Well, I go up into details over here and it brings up the details box. And that's why I'm in exceptions. These are holidays. These are exceptions to the rules, or these are work days, or something that's just a little bit different for a period of time. So I'm going to make this a working time, right? I'm in the 5th. I'm in this row. I went to details, and I'm going to say I want to work 8 to 12 and 1 to 5. And I'm going to make this, if I only wanted to work half a day, I could delete this and then it would be half a day. If I only wanted to work 3 hours, I could make this 3 hours. So I can do whatever I want in there. I'm going to keep it at working all of Saturday. And then I'm going to go weekly. And I'm going to say only on Saturdays. So recur every week, only on Saturdays. So you can pretty much manipulate this stuff around to whatever you want to do. And I'm going to go start on basically February 5th. That's good. And end after 1, 2, I said 3 occurrences, right? So the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. And it's already kind of showing the 19th there. I could pick it by a date if I wanted to, but I usually pick it by occurrences. I'm going to click OK. And now you see the hatching has changed. Now it is looking like this. And it's bolded to say you edited this. It's just flagging it that you've edited it. Now I want to click OK. And because I'm working now 3 Saturdays, this should actually shorten my finish date. So if actually it's not going to, the finish date, which is down here, it should shorten my finish date. So we're going to go, and now it's shortened it significantly, right? And it's shortened it more than 3 days because it crosses a calendar weekend. So that's why it's like, I guess, 5 days. So if I then go back and I take a look here, I can see on the Saturday, right? And on this Saturday, that I'm not actually working. And this is showing Sunday and Monday. Remember, there was a holiday, but I'm not working on the Saturday according to this. Not much of a long weekend there, I guess. So that's giving you the sense of how the calendar works. And remember, we only count work days whenever we have these time periods. So I went over this in the beginning level 1 and level 2 videos. But it doesn't schedule things through a weekend. So in other words, this is 7 days, right? That's why this is Saturday. And then you've got another 6 days, Monday to Saturday again. So that's 7 working days, but that's 8 calendar days. So Microsoft Project always just schedules through working days. That's why you want to make these, if you want to work days. So that's important to remember. The last thing I want to cover in this video is if you want to create a special calendar. So you can go create, change working time, and if we want to create a special calendar, say task 4 has a special calendar. For example, if you had an electrician and this was electrical work, right? And you wanted to put a special calendar on that particular trade. Let's say task 4, right? So on task 4, you want to assign a special calendar. Well, you got to create that special calendar. So we're going to create new calendar. Why don't we call it electrician for that? So we can identify electrical sub trade. Okay. It says make a copy of the standard. If I make a copy of the standard, it will keep all of the current holidays and working days. It'll take a copy of this. If I don't want it to do that, then I just go create new base calendar and I'll just do the Monday to Friday 40-hour a week thing without any holidays in it. But you'll have to put them back in if that's the case. All right, so I'm going to click OK here, and that should create this electrical subtrade calendar. Now I've shown you exceptions, so you kind of know how that works. We could do anything we want if they had special exceptions. But let's say this electrical subtrade, where I am in Toronto, you know, a lot of the trades, they have 4-day work weeks instead of 5-day work weeks. So some union contracts allow for that. If they never work Fridays, as an example, so if they never work Fridays, then I would go to work weeks and I'd go to default and then I'd go to details. So this is the difference between work weeks and exceptions. Exceptions is like they're not going to work the next 3 Fridays, or they want to work the next 4 Saturdays. That's exceptions, or the holidays. Or if it's something that is, for the most part, they don't do it. Like we could always add an exception later on, but for the most part, they don't do it. Like they don't work Fridays. Then I'm going to go to details, and I'm going to say Friday, set day to non-working time, right? Set day to non-working time. You can see over here, they're currently working. I'm going to click OK, and that means for the electrical subtrade, they never work Fridays. And as long as I click OK, it will keep that. So I'm going to click OK. And it doesn't change anything on my schedule yet. So I said I was going to put that on task 4. Well, if task 4 is, say, the work that the electrical trade does, then all I got to do is double click on task 4. And we looked at this task information box in our previous 2 videos. This is everything to all the information about the particular task, and we went into detail about predecessors. On a future one, we'll talk about resources, but we're going to talk about the advanced tab right now. And I'm going to say calendar, and it says none. Well, when it says none, I'm just going to go out of here for a second. When it says none, you remember when I went to project information? That's because we haven't assigned any special calendar. Everything is following the standard calendar because of what this says here. If I wanted to, I could have everything follow the subtrade calendar. Now that I've created it, it's listed there. Before it wasn't. So I'm going to go back, leave it at standard. That's fine. So I can either cancel or click OK. And now I'm going to double click on task 4. And we've got this particular task here, right? And it should be, it's crossing only one Friday that I see. So it crosses one Friday. So it should make a slight difference here. Because they don't work, it should extend this out to the Monday once I change this. All right, so I'm going to go calendar, none. I'm going to calendar, electrical subtrade. I'm going to click OK. And you see how it pushed it out past the Monday because they don't work Friday. Now, you might not understand or remember that you created that calendar and assigned it. And so then maybe you're going to look at that later on and say 7 days. All right, there's 5, but wait, there's 7 days, 7 work days. There's 1, there's 6, that's 7, there's 8. Why is it showing 8 when it says 7? I don't understand. Well, that's what this little icon over here is. If you hover over it, it tells you you assigned a special trade, a special calendar, the electrical subtrade, right? And then you might say, oh, what's going on with the electrical subtrade? Well, you could always go back and check and go to the electrical subtrade calendar and then see, oh, yeah. I assigned that they're not working Fridays. Okay, I get it now. This column is called the indicator column. It is very, very helpful because anytime you do anything to an activity, you add a note, you put a constraint, it will show it there in some way, shape, or form, which is very, very helpful. So get used to looking at that. For example, if I put a note and I put special calendar, not that I need to because it's already got that, but I could. All right, and I click OK. Then it puts a little post-it note. If I hover over it, special calendar, calendar's there. So it will show you these types of things. And that's really what I wanted to show you today about calendars and setting up your project. We can get more advanced. We can create a template going out forward. I'll do another video on that in more detail, but keeping to the beginners, this is where we will stay for now and build from here. Again, if you're in a hurry, you want to get more advanced videos, that sort of thing, go to my playlist, subscribe to my channel, click notifications. If you've got a question or comment or this helped you in any way, please feel free to leave it as we build our community on project management and construction project management, my specialty. All right, have a wonderful day. I'm Tom Stephenson signing off for now, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.